Hello everyone, Tactical Itch here. Got a fun battle replay submitted by Skybrand, once again playing as Khorne, this time against Skaven. And ironically, normally you would see Skaven spamming those summons on the battlefield while Khorne going all in on melee, but this time Skavens are going all in on melee and Khorne going heavy on their summon tactics. 2 units of Cultists of Khorne bring in their Gate of Khorne summon for those Bloodletters to drop right into enemy formations. They're backed up by a line of Marauders of Khorne in the skies, a couple Fury units, and on the flanks a ton of Khorne dogs. Chaos Warhounds, Flash Hounds, one of them, and the Hounds of the Blood Hunt with their Gore Feats for self-heal and dampening to remove spell resistance and negate magic attacks. On the other side, more Khorne dogs, Chaos Warhounds, Flash Hounds, and they're backed up by a Knights of the Brazen Throne, anti-infantry elite heavy cavalry. They add more mass and speed during charge, making them extra effective with their charge impact. They're led by the Chaos Lord of Khorne with their melee attack buff. Fight or die to make them even more deadly in melee combat. On the other side of the battlefield for the Skaven army, a front line of Clan Rats, second line of Rat Ogres, and then third line of Clan Rats Spears. They are also supported by a single Blight Scab's Plague Pack, who does have some immune to psychology imbuement to surrounding troops, making them more durable in melee combat and less susceptible to terror routes. And there's also the Contaminated Leadership debuff against enemy units, making them routing even earlier in combat. Leading the battle, we have Throt the Unclean on his Brute Horror there. No Rat Ogre summon, just the Remoter to heal Rat Ogres and Creature Killer to boost bonus versus large. He is supported by the Packmaster here. He does have his own shock collar for that immune to psychology and regeneration trait. Running with the pack as well, providing that passive heal is very nice for the Smolder monsters. Other than that, a bunch of mobility in the form of wolf rats with poison hiding in the forest. Spell support wise, a Warlock Engineer with only Flensing Ruin and also the Warpstone armor for the Mortis Engine health drain. That is it for the army builds, and now let's get the battle started. Battle begins and both sides are rushing towards the capture point, trying to secure those sweet victory tickets. Khorne does have the mobility advantage though and are venturing their mobility forces towards the flanks. Like here, Chaos Warhound spotting those Wolf Rats charging in with the support of those Flash Hounds of Khorne. Wolf Rats did manage to get a counter charge in time, doing some pretty good impact damage on the Chaos Warhounds of Khorne, but the problem is that Khorne has both the numbers and quality advantage on this engagement, overwhelming the Wolf Rats, securing a victory on this flank at the cost of 1 Chaos Warhound. On the other side, there are Furies and Warhounds, Flash Hounds getting into position and rear charge the Clan Rat Spears, who are facing the wrong way, not getting their charge defense against the large targets of the Hounds of the Blood Hunt, and are taking substantial impact damage, especially at the hands of frenzied up Chaos Furies. Though Skavens are trying to win the front line with their combo of infantry and monsters, Red Ogres and the Brute Horrors jumping into the front line, chewing through those Marauders of Khorne, punting that Cultist of Khorne all the way towards the other side of the formation, breaking those Marauders of Khorne, partially thanks to the terror applied by the double Brute Horrors. The Black Scab Plague Pack also charging into combat, trying to dish out some damage and using their Contaminated effect to break the enemy troops. At the same time, Khorne is coming in from the flanks as they have won that mobility engagement, charging in with the Knights of Brazen Throne, smashing through the ranks of the Clan Rat Spears with their extra charge speed and mass. More Clan Rat Spears are piling in, trying to reinforce the flank, supporting the double Brute Horror, just trying to hold back the advance of the Khorne forces, but the Khorne forces are definitely making some good progress on the flanks there. The Khorne dogs over here managed to break the Clan Rat Spears and are piling into the rear of the Clan Rats and Rat Ogres, breaking them with an overwhelming forces of Khorne mobility. A Flensing Ruin was attempted, as the Khorne troops are very clumped up and seems to be a good target for the direct damage spell. But they're not single entities, so they are not exactly the most efficient use of the spell. The Black Scab Plague Pack was doing alright in combat, but then a Bloodletter summon was being dumped right in the middle of their formation. The anti-infantry bonus and magic attacks bypassing their melee defense and physical resistance, doing some really good damage to the Black Scab Plague Pack just with the one single summon. While the double Brute Horrors are still fighting on the flanks, they're holding back the Knights of Brazen Throne and the influx of Khorne dogs. Rat Ogres over here though, with the Black Scab Plague Pack, they're managing to hold the line but might not be holding for long there, as There's a Sword of Khorne coming in right on top of the remainder of Blight Scab Plague Pack, deleting the rest of the unit down to less than 620 HP, and there they go, routed away as more Furies piling in to break the backs of the Blight Scab Plague Pack. These Regiment of Renown Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. The double brute horror characters are fighting shoulder to shoulder. They are reinforced with some battered Red Ogres and Clan Red Spears, just trying to hold the line here, but the problem is that the Chaos Lord of Khorne does have fire damage, and that is the weakness of all these brute horrors. Their regeneration trait renders them weak to the fire attacks, and they're taking extra damage against a very killy Chaos Lord of Khorne, who is all the way buffed to 87 melee attack, with Frenzy and other abilities juicing up his melee attack stats. Now, despite all that, Khorne seems to have lost their infantry fight pretty badly, as all their marauders have been beaten back. Only their mobility units remain, trying to chill through the rest of the Red Ogres. And even then, their mobility units are pretty damaged, some of the Furies already fading away from reality. At least the Knights of the Brazen Throne are still very much healthy, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of Skaven units that can threaten them. Plus, the mobility of these Khorne dogs can just chase off Skaven units and make sure they don't come back after they're routed. Another Flancing Ruin, this time targeting the Knights of Brazen Throne, which might have been a mistake, as the Knights simply have to move away, and the Chaos Lord of Khorne, who is quite weak right now, is no longer under threat of the direct damage health drain. A second Bloodletter summon, this time being used to screen off the enemy characters, the Double Brute Horror and the Warlock Engineer, who all have their Creature Killer buffing their bonus versus large, making them previously pretty good against the Chaos Lord of Khorne. Now all the Khorne units are flooding in, trying to go for a one-pitched engagement against the Skaven blob of Red Ogres and Clan Rats. The summoned Bloodletters trying to get whatever damage they can done before disappearing, but even with the summon boosting the Khorne balance of power, it seems that the Skavens still have the advantage right now. That's partly because the Warlock Engineer with his Warpstone armor has been doing a lot of heavy lifting, directly draining the health of all surrounding Khorne units. It looks like the Khorne dogs are rear charging the Skaven blob, and this might turn into a mass rout as the leadership of the Skavens bombs. As the Warlock Engineer has been pushed off, the Red Ogres have been pushed off as well. Now it is only the Throttle Unclean being left in the middle of combat, surrounded by foes, and one-on-one duel against the Chaos Lord of Khorne. That is not somewhere he wants to be in alone, with so much Khorne support surrounding him, while the Skaven support are all the way on the other side of the map, as they have been routed off to the far side. Now even Throttle Unclean is getting absolutely slaughtered in combat. Throttle has no hope against all these Khorne elites juiced up by the Horn of the Blood God. There goes Throttle Unclean as he takes more and more damage from the fire attacks of the Chaos Lord of Khorne. The Packmaster is trying to save his Liege Lord, but the Knights of Brazen Throne are nearby to pin him down, while more Khorne dogs are coming in just to surround and beat up this poor Packmaster. Throttle Unclean shatters, and there's no more leadership for the Skaven army. Once he dies, that is gonna be army losses, as a lot of these Skaven units are just routing away due to nearby enemy presence, and that shall be victory for the Blood God. A lot of Skaven blood has been spilled, and the Blood God, Khorne himself, is very, very much satisfied. GG to both players, and now let's wrap up the game with the army performances here. The Khorne army did really well on the flanks there. The Knights of the Brazen Throne crushing those Skavens under the hoofs of the Juggernaut mounts, and also the Warhounds, Fleshhounds wrapping around the flanks and chewing through the enemy defenses, with the rear charges against the Clan Rats and Rat Ogres, tearing apart those lightly armored enemy units with the help of some Chaos Furies as well. But mostly the heavy lifting was done by the Knights of Brazen Throne, and the Chaos Lord of Khorne there, smashing apart both of the Brute Horror characters, despite he himself not having access to any healing. And the Cultists of Khorne there dropping on those Bloodletters, cutting through the remaining Blight Scab Plague Pack, and also saturating on top of enemy characters are just really nice in the late game. For the Skaven army, they actually won most of the infantry engagement with the Clan Rat plus Rat Ogre combo. However, the problem is that they didn't really pay attention to the mobility engagement, allowing Khorne to pull off all those rear charges with the Knights of Brazen Throne and the Khorne Dogs, and as a result, they suffered some pretty heavy losses against the enemy mobility, giving that map control to the Khorne army there. And the Skavens basically got chased off as soon as they're broken from the main formation, allowing Khorne to get a massive chain rout with those Khorne dogs rear charging at the end, and break Throttle as well with the Chaos Lord of Khorne. Anyways, that's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoy this multiplayer combat, and if you want to see more Total War Warhammer multiplayer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Edge, signing out.